Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a magnifying glass to three of the absolute tiniest words in the English language: a, an, and the. Now, these little guys might look totally harmless, right? But honestly, they're notorious for causing massive headaches, especially for IELTS students and non-native speakers aiming for fluency. So we're going to expose the hidden trapdoors these words create and completely rewire how you look at them.
Okay, picture this classic grammar trap that instantly, and I mean instantly, costs test takers points. She studies the mathematics versus she studies mathematics. If you learned that the is used for specific things, well, you might be super tempted to put it in front of a specific subject like mathematics. But as we're going to see, the rules you were taught in school, they're actually kind of incomplete. Native speakers use this completely invisible logic to navigate these sentences every single day. You know, when you really map out the structure of academic English, articles aren't just minor details. They're a core, fundamental building block. Mastering them isn't just about, sounding polite. It's literally essential for high-stakes exams, academic literacy, and just crystal-clear communication. So let's start unlocking the rules that actually govern them.
All right, trapdoor number 1, the phonetic illusion, sound over spelling.
Here's the deal. Article choices aren't actually based on the letter written on the page, but rather the phonetic sound that letter makes when it's spoken out loud. We were all taught the basic rule, right? Use an before a vowel and a before a consonant. But take the words university and umbrella. They both start with the vowel U, yet it's a university and an umbrella. Why? Because your ears are way more important than your eyes here.
And this creates a few hidden phonetic traps you absolutely need to watch out for. A word like union or university begins with a glide j sound, which, phonetically speaking, acts like a consonant, so it takes a. Or take one-legged man. It starts with an O, but it sounds like a W, so it's a one-legged man. Conversely, the H in our and honest is completely silent, leaving us with a vowel sound which demands an. And honestly, my favorite one, an SOS. Even though S is a consonant, when you say the letter out loud, you say ease, which is a vowel sound. It completely flips the rule you thought you knew.
Moving right along to trapdoor number 2, the map trap, navigating geographical names.
So there's actually a pretty wild pattern to geographical names. If a country name is pluralized, like the Netherlands, or if it contains a title, like states, kingdom, or republic, like the United States, it requires the. Similarly, groups of things like the Great Lakes or the Atlantic Ocean get a the. But compare those to individual singular entities which demand absolutely nothing at all. It's just France, Australia, Lake Erie, and Mount Everest. Never the Mount Everest. The rule boils down to singularity versus grouping and specific naming conventions.
Trapdoor number 3, the institutional shift, purpose versus physical location.
Okay, we really need to unpack this one, because it's incredibly subtle but a total game changer. Omitting the article, saying he is in hospital, means the person is utilizing the institution for its intended purpose. Basically, he's a patient receiving medical treatment. However, adding the word the, saying he is in the hospital, means someone is merely present in the physical location. They're likely just a visitor, or, maybe a contractor fixing the plumbing.
This brilliantly shows how native speakers use invisible rules to communicate complex context without having to explicitly spell out what they're doing. If you go to school, you're a student there to study. But if a parent goes to the school, they're just visiting the building for a meeting. If you go to bed, you're going to sleep. If you go to the bed, you're literally just walking over to a piece of furniture. That one tiny article shifts the entire meaning from the purpose to the mere location.
Which brings us to trapdoor number 4. Mastering the zero article, the power of nothing.
Sometimes the best move is no move at all. Leaving a word blank isn't a mistake. It's a deliberate, highly specific grammatical tool. We use the zero article when we want to speak in broad, universal truths, talk about general plurals, or mention non-count nouns without limiting them.
Let's actually see the zero article in action. Dogs are loyal. We mean dogs in general, not a specific pack of dogs sitting in front of us. Honesty is the best policy. Honesty is an uncountable concept. Then we have languages, academic subjects, and meals. He speaks French. She studies mathematics. We had breakfast. Adding an article to any of these examples would incorrectly restrict their meaning, turning a sweeping, general statement into an uncomfortably specific and grammatically incorrect one. And hey, that's exactly why our example at the very beginning of this explainer, she studies the mathematics, was dead wrong.
All right, number 5. The ultimate test, the final article challenge. Okay, it's time to put all this to the test. Read the upcoming sentences carefully. Your goal is to try and identify exactly where the traps are hiding. Think back to everything we just covered.
Scan these 5 common mistakes that catch people out every single day. Number 1, she had dinner at 7 p.m. Number 2, the honesty is important in life. Number 3, he speaks the French fluently. Number 4, I go to the bed early. And number 5, have you ever been to Netherlands? Get your answers ready.
You've got exactly 10 seconds on the clock to lock in your corrections. Ready? Go.
All right, let's break down the logic here. 1, she had dinner. We use the 0 article for meals, so drop the. 2, honesty is important. 0 article for uncountable concepts. 3, he speaks French. 0 article again, this time for languages. 4, I go to bed. You're using it for its institutional purpose, which is sleeping, so no article needed. And 5, the Netherlands. Because it's a pluralized country name, it absolutely demands the.
I really hope this explainer empowered you to navigate English with total confidence. Once you see the matrix of articles, you honestly can't unsee it. But it does leave you wondering, right? If 3 tiny words like a, and the can completely change the entire meaning of whether you're in a hospital to work or to heal, just how much more of the language is built on hidden trapdoors? Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.